Well,
Well,
hello
hello
everyone.
everyone.
My name
My
is
name is
Micayla Lander, and I am happy to serve as a program manager here within the Government Affairs and Global Public Policy Division at Denver International Airport, or DEN, and we are honored to be joining the summit as a principal sponsor and join the conversation and learn more from all of the amazing sessions that are going on today and tomorrow. A little bit about me and my job is really based in community engagement. So I'm responsible for the strategic community investment of the airport. And really, I get to share the great initiatives and programming with our local communities and stakeholders, and to really make sure DEN is engaged and showing up with our partnering and their events as well. I want to give a brief overview of DEN and some of the really exciting data we have to share. So DEN has 26 commercial airlines, and with that comes a total of 233 nonstop destinations. 198 of those are domestic, and 35 are nonstop international destinations, reaching 19 different countries. DEN sits on 53 square miles of land, or 137 square kilometers, which makes DEN the largest airport in the Western Hemisphere and second largest on the Earth. In terms of airports, Atlanta, Chicago O'Hare, Los Angeles, and Dallas Fort Worth airports could all collectively fit on DEN's expansive property. And at the airport alone, we have over 43,000 badged employees, and all of them support the growth towards the expected 100 million annual passengers that we'll reach in just the next couple of years. So we're very busy, and there's a lot of exciting initiatives and programming underway. And so the women you'll meet today are integral to that growth. So, the intention of this DEN panel is to portray a range of professional possibilities within the aviation industry. And I'm excited to introduce three of those directors and leaders here at DEN. So, not to delay any further, I'd like each of the panelists to introduce themselves. If you could please share a little bit about your professional background, position at DEN, and how your portfolio fits within the entire DEN enterprise. I'll have Aubrey start. Thanks.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. So I actually was quite literally born into aviation. I am the daughter of a former Navy pilot who turned commercial pilot and a flight attendant, whose romance began on a layover on the beaches of Hawaii. So I have been in aviation my entire life. I knew at a very young age that I was very passionate about aviation. Um, Grew up again in airports and on airplanes, and started down the original path of going down that military path, looking to go to the Air Force Academy, thinking that was really the only route that I had to become a pilot, and then quickly learned that there was this commercial aviation path, and discovered Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. So went to school at Embry-Riddle for a couple years, ultimately transferred over to Metro State University here in Denver, Colorado, where I finished that degree and was doing an internship, working in a variety of ways in aviation for a Part 135 carrier initially, where I was building time on the side, again, very much dedicated and driven down that pilot path. That was the version of aviation that I really felt comfortable and that I knew. And I was derailed. I was derailed by 9/11, an event, of course, that impacts a lot of us, but really changed the course of my career. The company that I was working for, that I was working on building time, ended up shutting their doors just about a month or two after the event due to the high insurance costs on aircraft. And I was newly married, was building a house and needed a job, and was able to connect with colleagues in the industry, and jumped over to a small GA airport known as Rocky Mountain Metro Airport here on the northwest side of Denver, and started out as an executive assistant to the airport director at the airport, and over the course of 15 years worked my way through a variety of different positions there. But really what I want to share as we talk through women in aviation and industry, it changed my path. Where I was driven down that pilot path, I discovered airport world, and it wasn't something I was looking for. It found me, and I really found my niche. I really found a community of tenants and pilots and users that really suited me long term. So, as I mentioned, I spent my career there up to becoming the airport director, and then jumped over to Den about 10 years ago, and have been here in a variety of operational positions since then. So that's my history and background, and again, super overjoyed to be a part of aviation in a different way.
Thanks. I'll have Whitney go next, please.
All right. Thank you so much, Micayla. And thank you, Aubrey. So I'm Whitney McDowell, Director of Marketing and Branding, and my background is actually in the music industry, so it's a little bit different. So I came from an entertainment law firm, and then worked at a record label, and then managed bands for quite a long time. So I've been at Den for 6 years, and I started at Den as a marketing specialist in 2019, right before COVID, and then was a marketing manager, and now the director of marketing. So currently, our team oversees obviously marketing. We have video, photo, graphic design. We manage the website, social media. So we have our hand in a lot of different buckets. We also have the way we split it are by clients. So different internal clients at the airport we help market and represent, as well as some external. So that's sort of my role here and what we're up to now. So thanks.
Go ahead, Stephanie. Thanks.
All right. Yeah. So, hi, everybody. My name is Stephanie Burke, and I'm the director of the Center of Equity and Excellence in Aviation here at Den. I actually started my career in public transportation and so I've been working in transportation infrastructure for about 15 years. But I had a bit of a career shift part of the way through that. I started my career in law enforcement and security, emergency management. My bachelor's degree in education is all in law enforcement, and I definitely had a pretty significant career shift into workforce development about halfway through that, and that's what I've been doing ever since. So made the jump from public transit, trains and buses and things on the ground to things in the air about 4 years ago now. And I will say I came into aviation thinking, oh, there's going to be so much similarity. It's transportation. And I was very wrong. There is not a whole lot besides moving people and goods. That's pretty much all that was in common with public transit. But I will say, loved working in the aviation industry. I'll talk a little bit more about this later in the panel, but I came to Den to work on the Center of Equity and Excellence in Aviation and to build out two of the three programmatic areas, career pathways and research and innovation. And so I'll talk a little bit more about what that is, but that's a little bit about me.
Well, thank you all for the introduction. And you all talked a little bit about switching careers kind of midway through. So I would love to hear more about what that looked like, how you managed that transition, and what advice you might share for others who maybe are considering a similar shift into aviation fields. And Whitney, please.
All right. Well, thank you. Yeah. So I did speak a little bit about my background, but as I mentioned, I was deep into music. Like that was my life, my world, everything I was doing. But I've always had a really strong interest in travel, of course, and aviation. And I always had in the back of my head that I wanted to work at Denver International Airport. And I don't know why, but it's true. I just had it in the back of my head. When I was looking to make a switch, maybe this is why the airport was doing really amazing branding. We had the conspiracy theories. We were working on some viral moments, and it always caught my attention. So when I was looking to shift, it took a little bit of time, and it took kind of talking to people and networking, but I really did find that a lot of my skills were transferable. If you can market this, you can market that. And it's not as easy as it sounds, but I do feel like if you kind of have the bones of what you want to do, it can be transferred. So I guess my advice for anyone looking to sort of switch is just network, talk to people, meet people, hear their experiences. And really build on those foundational skills that you do know are transferable. So that would sort of be my guidance, and that's kind of how I made the shift. And as I mentioned earlier too, I did start as this marketing specialist, and I've worked my way up since over the last 6 years. So thanks.
Thank you. I'll hand it off to Stephanie.
Thanks, Micayla. So very similar to Whitney, my best advice is to network. I will say when I made the shift from public transportation to aviation, I not only made industry shift, but I also moved states. And so I was living in Los Angeles, California, and moved to Denver, Colorado. Very different climate, just very different everything. And so I will say it for me was a really difficult transition because I had to move to a new place. I had to learn how to drive in the snow, all those things. And so my best advice, besides try to meet as many people as you can to learn as much as you can, but also give yourself some grace. I used to think that you can learn any job and be proficient in it in 90 days. When I came to aviation, I realized that, yeah, I can learn my job, but proficiency and really understanding the airport and the industry, that takes far longer than 90 days. And so to give yourself grace and knowing that airports are huge, the industry is huge. There's so many interconnected pieces to learn. And I'm still, 4 years in, I'm still learning every day. And I think Aubrey would probably agree. She's been in aviation longer than I have, but we're always learning something new every day. Something else I also learned was it's okay to ask for help, and it's okay to ask 1,000 questions, even if they may seem silly or redundant, or I should already know this and I should know this acronym. There's so many acronyms in aviation that I just, got the courage to ask. And that way I could, at least know what people were talking about. So that would be my best advice.
Yeah, so many acronyms. And taking the time to stop and ask and making sure everyone in the group or the meeting is on the same level, the same page is super helpful. Aubrey, I'll hand it to you next.
Perfect. Well, so yeah, I mean, obviously, again, immersed in aviation for my whole career, always my passion, always my love. But there was definitely, some speed bumps and some roadblocks along the way. I mentioned 9/11. I mentioned being it was actually the interim airport director at the small GA airport, and I didn't get the job. I didn't get the permanent job, and that was life throwing some lemons at me. And not only did I not get the job, but how that played out was a really significant challenge. And I ran into some stereotypical barriers within industry, being a woman within industry, and that was hard. And so I really did decide, to take those lemons and turn them into lemonade, and made that very conscious choice to be that big fish in a small pond, and really become a very small fish in a very big pond when I jumped over here to Denver. One thing that my dad told me when I was really young and I was interested in aviation, and it's always stuck with me. Maybe it's a bit old school, but he always, challenged me to be the best at anything that I chose to do, to make sure that I was knowledgeable, to make sure that I had the skills and the authority, and to be in the seat. That there might always be times or places in my career where someone might ask why I'm in the seat, and to make sure that I could own it. And that really stuck with me. I think for me, one piece of advice, and the thing that I love about Den, and I know that we'll continue to talk about it as we really bring on and embrace everything that CEEA is at Denver International Airport, really opening the doors to inclusivity and equity and diversity, is that this is a fantastic community of people. We are a very big airport, but we are a very small community. And I love that very much, that I have been embraced, that we have great leaders at all levels that not only talk the talk, but they walk the walk with their actions every day. So to that point, what I would say is embrace your barriers, embrace your roadblocks and your brick wall, because inevitably, if you work hard enough and you keep pushing, you find a way over, around, or through, and every ounce of that energy and effort makes you stronger and makes you a better leader to empower others to do the same. So, it's really just been a part of my time in this industry, and I'm excited that this airport really continues to support that across all platforms.
Thank you, Aubrey. That's a perfect transition into my question for you about career growth, maybe advice or lessons learned that have helped drive your career in aviation industry. And I'm wondering if there's a different piece of advice you might give for the student versus someone who is well into their career.
And that one's back to me, Micayla.
Yes.
Yeah, so I mean, I think definitely again, stay dedicated, stay passionate, embrace every learning opportunity. I think it was already touched on in a lot of ways over the course of today and the various speakers. You never stop learning, you never stop gaining information, you never stop growing. There is always new information, there are always new experiences to be gained. Again, don't be deterred by the challenges. Instead, embrace them and continue to grow from them and move forward. I think that's really the most important. And find your people. Find your people that stand next to you, arm in arm, and that take you on that journey with them. Again, I think it's a great community here, and that's at all levels. That starts in school. It starts. I can't tell you how many people. From my days at Embry-Riddle, from my days at Metro, that we're still connected, we're still friends. I still run into them in all areas of industry. One thing, and it's probably true of a lot of industries, but as big as aviation is, it's also very small. So nurture those important relationships and really continue to grow.
Thank you. And Whitney, this next question is for you. Obviously, Den is one of America's busiest airports. We like to think it's also one of the most iconic. So could you please just describe your experience in shaping that brand locally and maybe on the global scale?
Yeah, absolutely. So, oops, sorry. Thank you. Micayla, I think if you're mute. Thanks. Yeah, so speaking about brand, so like I briefly mentioned earlier, I worked in the music industry, and one of the big things that I learned a lot about was brand, and that's where a lot of my love really lies. Everything from the words that we use to the photos to the video to small things like an overlay too. Brand really is in everything that we do. And one of the amazing things that I love about Den is, here it is much bigger than a logo. It's much bigger than a slogan. It's a way that we sort of think about ourselves, and it's a way that we want to serve our passengers. And we do that in a lot of different ways. Of course, like I mentioned, in our logo and our brand, and the part of my team's job is to make sure that that stays very tight and very strong. But there are many, many other ways that we do that at the airport. And it all really comes down to the customer experience of what are all the things that make you feel like you're at Den. We think about it with their concessions. We want local businesses, local restaurants that are cool and fun and really represent Colorado region. We think about it in our architecture and our space. One thing that makes Denver unique, as Micayla mentioned, that makes the airport unique is all of the space that we have. So you'll see if you've traveled through recently, our new concourse expansions we work on. We've had floor to ceiling windows with really beautiful views of the outdoors, which is a huge part of living in Colorado. Our iconic tents are part of our brand too. So it really is not just about what's on the paper and what's the logo. And it really is about the experience. So part of my job is also to make sure that we're continuing to build that. Part of our team is the customer experience team and customer service team. And we're always working very closely together of what are we hearing from passengers? What are we hearing from employees? Yes, we need another child's play area. How can we make that happen so that people have a better experience? Yes, we need more concessions in the Great Hall. We're working on that. So, and that's all part of the brand and part of the experience. And then the last thing I'll add, just like as an airport, is it's humbling and it's very cool to think that because we are so connected, people are coming in and out of our facility every single day and hopefully taking a little piece of our brand with them, with the memories that they have here, or hopefully the good times that they have at the airport too. So that's just a little bit. I mean, brand really is ingrained in every single thing that we do. It's ingrained in the guidance that we give our other teams, and so it's super fun. And yes, we still have the conspiracy theories, and yes, they're still very fun, and it is part of our brand that we love to lean into. So
Well, we love it too. As employees, it's so fun to be a part of everything. So the next question is for Stephanie. So Stephanie, I can recall when DEN's Center of Equity and Excellence in Aviation, we call it CEEA for short, was a team of one, just yourself, and now it's grown into such a large team with amazing programming that is well underway. And it's exciting news that the physical location will also be up for the public to use in early next year. So could you share more about CEEA with this audience? What the center is aiming to do and to add into the aviation industry as a whole?
Yeah, absolutely. And so CEEA is an acronym, as I mentioned earlier, so Center of Equity and Excellence in Aviation. And this is an initiative that DEN undertook about 4 years ago, 4.5 years ago, to really design and shape the future of the aviation workforce in an inclusive and innovative way through community-driven programming. And so what that means in practice is we really have multiple programmatic areas that exist within the space. And so we've been building our space for the last couple of years. It does, as Micayla mentioned, finish construction at the end of this year. And then we do cut the ribbon on that space in January. And then we're open to the public shortly thereafter. So if you are in Denver, this is a space that is outside of security. So you can absolutely come visit us. But we have multiple programmatic areas within the space. That includes career pathway programs, research innovation, business development, and we also have a workforce center. And so our career pathways program is really aimed at connecting with youth. We start as young as age 5 through age 24, and we show kids all the different careers there are in aviation. We often get kids that are like, there's a pilot, there's a flight attendant, there's the guy with the sticks on the tarmac. And it's, yes, there are all those positions, but there's so much more in aviation that you can do in that. And so we really focus on showcasing all the diversity of careers. We've got intern programs where we allow students to get real world paid work experience. We have programs for our own employees at DEN. We invest in our people because we want to be the place where the aviation industry comes to find talent. And so we're very intentional about investing in our own employees through leadership programs, through airport certifications, job shadowing, mentorship, et cetera. Our research and innovation lab will have a physical lab within the space. This is a low-tech lab, but we really look at the airport as this incubator for technology. And so while, yes, you can maybe prototype in our research and innovation lab, the airport itself is really that testing environment. So we're already doing work in all of these spaces. And then when it comes to research, we do have our students conduct research on our behalf, our student interns. We also work with local universities and colleges to conduct research. And this research gets compiled into an aviation megatrends report. And so we look at what are those big trends that are coming on the horizon, 5, 10, 30 years from now. How do we ensure that not only DEN is prepared, but that the entire aviation industry is prepared? And so this gets synthesized into a report. It does go on our website. So if it's something you're interested in, definitely encourage you to take a look at that. And then when it comes to our Business Development Training Academy, we partner with a team at DEN, and they have a whole suite of business development offerings and opportunities for small businesses to connect to DEN and to learn how to do business at DEN. And so we're very intentional about building those pathways into the aviation industry, whether you're a small business, whether you're a student, or whether you're an employee. When it comes to workforce, we will have our workforce center within CEEA. And so if you're interested in getting a job, you can come through the Workforce Center and they'll connect you to employers who are looking to hire. The last thing I'll say about CEEA is we really designed the space to be intentional about what are the barriers to accessing the industry. And one of those barriers that we identified was the lack of childcare. And so we will have a drop-in childcare center within the space. It's only 20 kiddos, so not a huge center, but we are utilizing that space. If you're interested in participating in any of our programs, then childcare will be an option for you. We are also looking at a larger effort to address childcare at DEN. I'm not sure, this could be a common problem for some, this could be an uncommon problem, but for us, we don't have a lot of childcare centers or slots within our region. And so providing that additional capacity for our employees is really important and is used as an employee engagement and retention tool. So we are looking into solutions around the childcare space, kind of as part of CEEA. Thank you.
Well, thank you for that. I know we have a couple minutes left, so I wanted to ask the audience, if you have any questions for this group, feel free to drop them in the chat. I'll drop my information there as well and can help respond to those, send more information even after our session ends here. One short question for each of you while we're collecting maybe some questions in the audience. I'll start with Aubrey. What are 3 words that describe your day-to-day at Den or your week?
Busy. Collaboration, I would say, is a big one. And I joke about busy, but we are busy. And I would say this is I guess it goes in line with collaboration, but cohesiveness, cohesive effort for the end goal.
Thank you. Whitney, if you'll go next.
This is a good one. That's more than 3 words, but I would say never the same. Always something to learn. I'm not good with small amount of words. Sorry, Micayla.
Go ahead, Stephanie.
And I'm last. Yeah. So I would say probably fast-paced, dynamic, and collaborative.
Yes, I would have to agree. For me, definitely busy. My second word was connected, and fun. It's so fun to work here. And I never thought I would have a career at an airport or in aviation at all, and I'm just happy to be here. So I don't see any other questions in the chat for us. Just like Joseph added, we do have a virtual exhibit booth, so my information's there if you'd like to connect afterwards, or if I can connect with any of our speakers. I am so happy to do so. Thank you for your time today, and hope everyone has a great end of their day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Micayla.
Thanks, everyone.